interweb new people, Gutsy Cosplayer coming at you with part 2 of my How to Build Professor Ozpin's cane from RWBY, aka the Longmerry. So thank you to everybody who watched part 1. In this video I'm just going to go through how I painted it and what you need to do to paint your own. So first off, what you are going to need is some masking tape, okay, plain common garden masking tape, a primer or a base coat. I used this generic grey just there. Your main colour spray paint, this particular one here, this is Wilkinson's metallic spray paint. I went for the mid-tone grey because the other ones they had were either too shiny or they were too dull. I just went with the nice mid-range for that. If you do choose what colour you want, if you have a flat grey, like a regular grey, it's like it is in the show. If you have a metallic grey, it gives it more of a realistic feel. Next thing you need is going to be a black pen or a very thin brush. So I've got a black pen and there's also a very thin brush just there, and I'll tell you why you need those in a minute. You also need a paint that's slightly lighter than your main colour, so that is my Wilco Let's Create Silver, also in acrylic. You also need various other paints such as white, dark blue, light blue, black, brown, etc. So obviously whatever you want to paint your cane as, that's what you can use. Obviously you don't have to go with the colour scheme on the show, you can do whatever you like. If you want to do an evil version of Ozpin, you may want to go with blacks and reds. If you want to do something else, you want to go like completely bonkers and do a neon one, you can do a neon one. Right, obviously you're going to need various brushes. If you don't have a pack like this, you can use a thin brush and a flat head brush. They'll do just fine. And the last thing you're going to need is some clear coat varnish just there. Plastic Coat Fast Dry Project Enamel is what I used. And eventually you will end up with something like this. Obviously, as you can see from the last video, it has completely changed and it is now the proper silver colour. Okay, so what you do, you prepare your cane by masking off the end here and the polystyrene ball here. Obviously that's to stop getting paint onto bits you don't want paint. Then next you grab your primer, so either spray it thinly in a well ventilated area or brush it on in a very thin layer with your large flat brush, i.e. this one. So that's mine. I haven't really used it that much because I decided to spray it on. Right, what you do is if you lay the paint on too thick, then all of this pattern will get completely covered over. If that happens, you should still be able to see the pattern. So what you do is you go over it with your pen or your thin black brush, and you just go over it again just to enhance those lines. Okay, so obviously you will need a steady hand for that, so make sure that your hands are steady and you haven't had 20 zillion cups of coffee this morning. Right, next you grab your slightly lighter colour, so obviously my silver, and then you dry brush that over. So what you do is you get your large flat brush, you put a little bit of paint onto it and then brush off the excess on a piece of scrap paper or a piece of scrap card or whatever, so it's just barely visible, and then you just dry brush it very lightly over the lines and it will just enhance them even further. Okay, so next step, obviously if you go over with your highlight colour and you do your dry brush and you go over the lines again. Okay, so what I did next is I filled in this clockwork section here in a flat black. I did go over it with a gloss varnish. I don't know if you can see it on there, but it is slightly glossy. There you go, I can show you in the light, slightly glossy. And I just wanted to give it that effect. Alright, so once everything's dry, obviously you've got to leave dry between each of your coats of paint. Once it's dry, then you, excuse me, can go onto your varnish. Obviously, like I said, mine is just a clear enamel varnish. I went over it with a couple of coats. You can also use Mod Podge, but make sure if you use the gloss or the matte, you can use either, but I prefer to use the matte, just to like tone down the shine a little bit, because as you can see on here it's very shiny. Okay, so final detail work. What you do is you go and order a pack of steampunk cogs from eBay. I will just grab those to show you what they look like. Bear with me. in this drawer here, then this is what they look like. Okay, just a bag of cogs. This is a 100-gram pack. It cost me about £3, and you get them in various colours: gold, silver, and like a bronzy colour. Now, you may not get exactly what you want in these packs. I didn't, but I made do. So I found, oops, sorry, my table's a bit wobbly. So you find a pair that match and stick those on with some super glue. And what I did, I put a large silver one on the bottom and then a bronze one slightly smaller on the top, just to give it a bit of a 3D effect. So yeah, so to everybody who's watched this video, parts 1 and part 2, thank you very much for tuning in. If you do like what you see, please hit that like button and make sure you whack that subscribe button to see more builds from me in the future. Hopefully my new foam and contact adhesives and primers and everything from Polyprops, shout out to them because they provided the foam that actually made this, so Polyprops, thank you very much. Yeah, so to see more builds in the future, please like and subscribe the video and tune in for the next one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut away to some very, very nice aesthetic shots of this cane out and about in my local nature reserve, and I'm going to see you in the next video. So guys, from the Gutsy Cosplayer and from Ozpin's weapon, the Long Memory, we will see you in the next video. Toodles!
What is your plan to defeat Salem?
How do I destroy Salem?
You can't.
I don't have one. Meeting you is the worst luck of my life.
I don't think I can drive it home tonight.
He's gone.
That bastard! Tell him we're not done yet!
I won't be alone tonight.
How much longer can we even trust him? But I want to do everything I can to help with whatever time I have left.